Your mind has to seek discomfort. It has to seek these difficult tasks. You have to enjoy it. And you have to figure out a way to make your mind enjoy those things. Some people it comes easy and some people it doesn't. Some people it takes a long time. Discipline equals freedom. And it's true because he's able to force himself to do that every single time. There's no excuses. There's no breaks. There's no days off. It doesn't happen. So because of that, you're not scared. You know that you can keep doing. You know that you can continue to perform. There's a lot of people that are scared of their ability to do something that's difficult. They're scared of whether or not you see someone who's doing something that's really tough to do and you go, man, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could force myself to be disciplined. I don't know if I could force myself to take that kind of action. Well, if you do force yourself to take that kind of action, you don't have that question anymore.
Guess what the main ingredient in victory in your life is? Discipline. Yeah. All day. There is no shortcut. There is no hack. There's no sweatless solution. You're gonna have to work. There is always weakness to work on. Always. A lot of them. Why would we allow ourselves to make easy excuses? Why would you allow that?
The SEALs didn't beat this into me. You have to have it before you even get there. Because if you're not structured and disciplined before you get there, they can't teach you while you're getting your ass kicked because you'll quit. So basically for me is once you really want to become uncommon amongst the best people in the world, you can't give yourself a way out. A common individual can stay on point for a year and they fall off. That's normal. It's that uncommon person that has, how long have you? Well, I haven't taken the off in 6 years. You don't hear that very often. That's how you start to separate yourself. So to separate yourself, you can't allow yourself to say, oh man, for some reason, I let myself go for a week and then I just have a hard time getting back. You have to put in your mind that I don't want to be that person anymore. For me to separate myself from everybody, that's what most people do. Most people cannot be like, I'm not missing a day regardless, because if I miss today, I'm going to miss tomorrow. And I know that about myself. So come hell or high water, I'm going to get it in. And you have to get the mindset of it haunts you if you don't get it in.
I've had people that listen to the podcast and they've reached out to me over the past few years, and one of the main messages that they took and put into action was actually putting things into action, whatever that was. They stopped eating sugar. They stopped sleeping in. They started waking up early. They quit playing video games for 10 or 12 or 14 hours a day. They sold that Xbox thing. There's people that have quit drinking, that quit doing drugs, and quit losing their temper. And I've heard from so many different people that have implemented change in their lives. So many letters and messages and notes. And I want you to know that these people aren't a bunch of elite special operations warriors. That's not who they are. They aren't a bunch of high-level athletes or highly screened and highly trained individuals. These are just normal people, really. But they're normal people that knew they needed to make a change. And they decided they were going to make a change, and then they made it. And that is what I do. And that is what you can do too. If you have something to change, if you want to change something, change it. Change it now. When the actual time that you need to go on the warpath and you need to go harder on the warpath is when things are going wrong. That's when you need to dig deeper. That's when the whole idea of saying good, that's when it happens. When things are when you're getting tested by the world. That's when you want to do it. So when you get tested by the world, that's when you get the opportunity to show the world what you're made of. That's when you get to say, bring it on. Bring it on. Oh, things are going wrong? Bring it on. I actually look forward to that. Because this is when I get to exercise my discipline. This is when I get to show the discipline. I get to put the discipline to work. It's the moment I have been waiting for. Because let's face it, if things were easy, then I could just sit around and slack off. Right? That's what could happen. When things are easy, when things are going right, that's when you actually can slack off a little bit because things are going right. I don't recommend it. I recommend actually when things are going right, you go hard. But when things are going wrong, you need to go even harder. So, if everything's going wrong, it doesn't matter to me because I'm on the path. I'm going to stay on the path, on the war path. And I'm going to get my situation rectified. Stat. Other than death, all failure is psychological. Other than death, all failure is psychological. Think about that. Just think about that. This failure, this upset, this catastrophe. If you aren't dead, then it's just psychological. It's in your head. Now, this does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed. It just means you've made a temporary tactical retreat. It means you've made a brief withdrawal so that you can regroup and re-attack. So, as far as I'm concerned, if you get beat, unless you're dead, you are not defeated. And you have not failed. What you've done is you've learned. You've gained experience. And you're still alive. And you have memories to make. So get up and go get after it.
I talk to myself in a very honest way. A lot of things I'm not great at. And if you don't have that in you, you got to tell yourself that. So for me, like when I tell people I know I'm uncommon, it's because I know that there's not many people in the world doing what I'm doing. Not because I'm blowing smoke up. It's because I set out to do this. I set out to be uncommon. You have to set out to be a business person. You have to set out to be an entrepreneur. And you can't be like, you know what? I'm going to be an entrepreneur. No. Has to be something that you're thinking about all the time. You're kind of born with it, but if the idea just doesn't leave your head and you're obsessed about, maybe I really want to get this going, you're not going to give up when the time gets hard. So it's the preparation that you put into your entire life that gets you ready for the unprepared.